The new episode is supposed to be the start of full-on madness and the reveal of the real plot of the amazing digital circus, because honestly, everything we've seen so far was just a really long intro and basically character revealing. Today we're going to talk about why episode 6 will mark the beginning of the chaos through the lens of some of the characters, and since we've already talked about Ragatha recently, today we're focusing on the others. And I'll be honest, most of the attention is going to go to Pomni and Jax, because I feel like what happens with those two, both separately and together, is going to play a huge role in all of this. With every new episode, we see Pomni's mental health getting better, and considering her potential friendship with Jax, it's likely that in episode 6, she'll finally come to terms with the reality of the digital circus and stop treating it like some kind of illusion. Sure, that's already happening right now, but it's in the next episode that Pomni's calmness will reach its peak, and that point will mark the line between character revealing and the start of that promised chaos. We'll go a bit deeper into that when we talk about this so-called friendship and how it'll affect episode 6. But for now, let's go back to Zubul, who will probably act like a kind of calming presence in episode 6. In episode 5, we saw that Zubul's probably the best conversationalist in the digital circus, and even though she looks kinda rough, she really is a good friend, and that might really help Pomni in the new episode. But we'll talk about that later. Honestly, I don't think Kinger and Gangle are going to play any major role in the new episode, while the central figure of episode 6 will most likely be the one to push the first domino in the chain of crazy events. And of course, I'm talking about Jax. A lot of people also noticed that in episode 5, Jax seemed way more reasonable than he was in the earlier episodes.
Why are you always pretending everything's always fine? Like, if you tell someone they're loved and appreciated every day, it just kind of loses all meaning. Sorry about the whole president thing. I just thought it'd be funny.
And because of all that, a lot of folks started seeing him as a good guy, but Gooseworx herself officially said we shouldn't think of him that way, because he's still very much not a good person. We also have that cutoff line from Jax in episode 6, but we'll get back to that a bit later. I already talked about why Jax should be the main focus of the next episode, and with that leak in mind, it's honestly kind of funny. I think a lot of fans were really moved by the final scene of episode 5.
I thought the first two were awesome. The rest, eh. Oh yeah, Pomni. I can show you that thing in the hall I was talking about.
Oh yeah, sure.
Throughout the whole episode, we clearly saw how the bond between Pomni and Jax kept getting stronger and stronger, and while at first Pomni was kind of suspicious about it, over time she started to really understand Jax, and by the end, it's obvious she fully trusts him now. We also remember how Jax reacted when someone brought up his old friend.
Do you have any actual friends? Not anymore.
And we also remember how he kept trying to dodge the question the whole time.
What was that about?
It's nothing. Who cares?
So, you wanna talk about that?
I'm in a maid outfit. What do you think?
And now that we've figured out Jax's whole main arc, it's finally time to break down episode 6. In that very last scene, we saw Jax and Pomni heading off somewhere, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly where Jax's storyline is going to kick off. I honestly think the episode will open with a conversation between Pomni and Jax, where the bunny finally tells her the full truth about his best friend who's been gone from the digital circus for a while now. And I'm also pretty sure that for like half the episode, we're going to see Jax becoming more and more normal, almost like a totally sane version of himself without any of those rage outbursts.
What the heck? Who did this? You! Jax, you're up to bat. I don't wanna, I quite look like this though!
Or all that bullying he kept throwing at the other residents of the digital circus. But of course we all remember that so-called leak where Goose confirmed that episode 5 was basically the end of peaceful times in the digital circus. And starting from episode 6, we're gonna see full-blown chaos and madness. And here's why Jax is gonna be the one to kick it all off. As the new episode unfolds, we're going to dive deeper into Jax's past and, which I'm honestly hyped about, finally find out why he's so scared of corn and whether there's actually a connection between Jax and Ragatha or if all those theories about them being siblings were just a clever trick from the show's creators. Cause honestly, they got a lot of stuff in common, and I already dropped a whole video on that theory. At the same time, we'll be learning more and more about Ribbit, and obviously all that's going to come up during his convos with Pomni. And honestly, Pomni's gonna play a huge role in episode 6 when it comes to Jax, cause she's the one he sees as his new best friend now. Maybe the way Pomni acts and thinks reminds Jax of his old friend, and that's exactly why she's the only one he actually treats with respect.
I was an accountant for a supermarket chain.
A supermarket? How'd you end up here?
Well, I sometimes got bored of things, and I would seek out mild thrills like exploring abandoned buildings, and posting videos of it online.
Ah, a YouTuber.
Not really. Nobody watched them.
But I couldn't stop thinking about how Jax, the new adventure, and the madness that's going to start in episode 6 are all connected. And I think I finally found the answer. In episode 5, we got a glimpse of Jax's preferences, and please, lock those scenes in your head for later.
In today's episode of Poach Everything, I'm going to be hunting the critically endangered red ribbon rhinoceros. Ah, just like Mom used to make. Oi, mate! I'm an Australian extremist, and I've come to detonate this bomb that'll release all the world's deadliest spiders into...
Putting these scenes together with what we know from leaks, it's clear that the new adventure will be chosen by Jax, and it's going to be the craziest one in the history of the digital circus so far. Maybe that line is a hint at this, since in episodes 4 and 5, we slowly figured out that now the adventures aren't created by Kane, but by the circus residents themselves. I see the scene like this. Someone announces the new adventure, and then Jax says that line, and they ask him to name his own adventure. Kane likes it, and all the characters set off on Jax's dangerous adventure. Like I said before, Pomni will play a big role in episode 6, and I have a theory that Jax might have designed this adventure to finally confirm that Pomni really is, so to speak, Ribbit's reincarnation. But as usual in the digital circus, something's gonna go wrong and Pomni will start acting totally different from what Jax planned, which will only convince him once again that no one can replace that one true friend, and so you could say he'll lose his best friend all over again. That might be the kickoff for the madness Gooseworx promised us. But of course, things could go the other way, and Jax might actually turn into a more grounded character who's not just funny to watch, but genuinely enjoyable without all the constant mocking and mean jokes. And honestly, that path even seems more logical, cause both we and Jax clearly understand that Pomni isn't Ribbit, and he'll never be able to replace him, or her, with anyone else. But finding some kind of peace through Pomni seems totally real, cause if you look close, Pomni actually gets Jax, and she's clearly interested in talking to him and being around him. So, yeah, I feel like in episode 6, Jax might become more of a sane character and we won't see him messing with others as much. But of course, all of this is just theory for now. Anyway, I'm curious. Which one of these theories do you trust more? Let me know in the comments. But even if we stick to the theory that Jax is going to become a more grounded character, the fact that some kind of madness is definitely coming, and it's most likely tied to Jax, doesn't exactly fit that calm storyline. But hey, y'all remember that mannequin that's been lurking around for a while and finally got some focus in episode 5? I got this feeling that it's definitely connected to Jax. And a lot of digital circus fans are dead convinced that this mannequin might actually be Jax's secret friend. What if he suddenly shows up, says he's Ribbit, and reveals some wild truth he learned about the digital circus? That could set off a full-blown chain reaction and kick off a straight-up revolution inside the digital circus, throwing everything into total chaos. To be honest, making a video like this was pretty tough, cause thinking through everything logically ain't as easy as it might seem. And I really don't want to put out trash content like Jax is definitely gonna abstract in episode 6, just for the sake of hype. I'll be waiting for your feedback in the comments and see y'all soon.